Really good entry-level model for under 200 quid like these. And if you're cunning, you could get it to pay for itself very quickly.
Oh.
To work out what is the best cheap HD camcorder for just a couple of £100, I picked 3 of the best on the market and set out to film the sort of cringingly funny scenes that TV clip shows pay for.
They'll stomp up around 250 quid for good footage, so that basically means you've got yourself a free camcorder and £50 spare.
I haven't got time to find a guinea pig that does backflips or to wait for one of my more embarrassing aunties to fall over at a disco, so I've set up 3 of my own hilarious incidents to film. Carefully though, of course, because if you damage people or property for your footage, you could end up forking out more than the 250 quid in legal fees.
Right, let's get on with it, shall we?
For my first video, I'm testing the Sanyo TH1. It costs around £180. Even though it was the most expensive of the 3 camcorders, it was still well under budget. So, here's the first scenario.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith have brought their lovely daughter here to this lovely duck pond in Birmingham to feed the birds. However, their lovely daughter doesn't want to feed the birds. In fact, she's going to throw a giant strop and push Daddy in the pond.
The Sanyo records its high-def footage at the slightly lower resolution of 720p, not full 1080p.
So, for a 32-gig memory card, you'll get about 8 hours of footage. That'll cost you about £46. It's got a 30 times optical zoom, face chaser technology, and you can film from 2 seconds from standby mode.
The Sanyo does have one downside, though. The stills camera is only 2 megapixels, which is a bit disappointing, as most camera phones can do better than that these days. It was time to see how well it performed.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, action.
Come on, come and feed the ducks.
No, Mummy!
Come on.
No,
come and feed the ducks. Come on, look. Come and feed the ducks.
Come and feed the ducks. Come on, come and feed the ducks.
Oh, no. Let's have a look, then. Here it is, look.
The Sanyo performed very well. It was intuitive and easy to use. The picture quality was excellent, the zoom was very smooth, and the sound quality was great.
Sarah!
Right, on to the second stunt, which I've set up to test the Toshiba Camileo S10. Available for just under £100, it was the cheapest HD camcorder I was testing.
Right, this is the scenario. Here's Amy. This is Amy's car. Amy needs to park her car in the only space left in the road, right there, behind that van. She's got to reverse park, but she's a little bit of a reckless parker. I do hope that she doesn't crash into those scooters behind. Right, while the girls are setting the stunt up, let me tell you about this gorgeous little Toshiba. It records at 720 and 1080p, but you'll have to get yourself an SD card to record onto. 32 gigs will give you about 8 hours of recording time, and it'll cost you about £46. Yep, just there's perfect.
The Toshiba stills camera was better than the Sanyo's at 5 megapixels, but it only had a 4 times digital zoom, not optical, which didn't bode well.
Ready, Amy? Action! Here she goes. Reversing in, nice little reverse then. Oh! I don't believe it! Amy, are you all right?
The stunt had worked perfectly, but what about the camera?
Here we go.
The 1080p footage played back very smoothly on the small screen.
Oh! Good hit!
Down in what?
I'll tell you what, though, the sound quality is absolutely rubbish.
I don't believe it!
And because I was in 1080p mode, it only does 2 times digital zoom, not optical, so that's not very good either.
Right, time for the third and final video, which I'm using to test the Flip Ultra HD. The Flip was the world's first point-and-shoot camcorder, and it's recently been upgraded to include an HD model for around £150.
So here's our next scenario. Gemma is our blushing bride. David is Gemma's fake dad. But when Gemma gets out of the wedding car, her dress is going to get stuck in the door and rip. There's the groom. You feeling nervous?
Yes, very.
This Flip HD Ultra has got 8 gig of memory built in, which is good for an incredible 120 hours of HD footage shot at 720p.
The only downside is that once it's full, you need to download the files onto your computer before you can film anything else.
This is what I absolutely love about the Flip. That USB stick. It downloads your footage straight away into your computer. No need for messing around with memory sticks, SD cards, or tapes. Brilliant.
Like the Toshiba, it only has a 2x digital zoom. Oh, it's nearly time. And the screen is slightly smaller at only 2 inches. But how well did it do at capturing Gemma's big day? Action! There she is.
Dress.
The dress rip worked perfectly. Although I think the father of the bride probably took his role a little bit too far.
I love a good wedding, don't you?
The footage looked great, and the camera performed really well in lower light conditions. I was expecting the 2x digital zoom to be a bit rubbish, but it wasn't too bad. Nice and smooth.
And the sound was fantastic.
Yeah.
Sound was really, really good.
Yeah.
Top stuff.
So, on to the G ratings. The Toshiba Camileo S10 gets 3 Gs. It's a great-looking camcorder that records good quality 1080p footage, but it suffers with a terrible digital zoom and bad sound. The Flip HD Ultra also gets 3 Gs. Although the sound quality and zoom are both better than the Toshiba, its higher price but lack of features ultimately lets it down. And the Sanyo VPC TH1 gets 4 Gs. Packed full of useful features with great picture and sound quality, it's the best all-round high-def camcorder for under £200.
And with that, it's the end of the show.
It is.
We'll see you next time.
See you next week.